All right, guys, good morning. We are going to be working on our ELA lesson. I talked about this morning that you need to turn in your flip grids by today. I only have 7 students who have turned them in. These are due, okay? I assigned these on March 2nd. It's been almost a month. So you guys need to get those completed. It's just a minute-long video. You can watch other people's videos. I have 2 different videos, one with the ruler, one without, that you guys can watch. Okay? Okay, we're going to be reading Once Upon a Baby Brother, and then we're going to be looking over your CRC and your turn workbook pages. And then at the end, you guys will work on your 5 things. And I'm going to use that rest of the time to talk to you guys about your flip grids for those of you guys who have them, okay? So let's go ahead and read Once Upon a Baby Brother. If you have your big books at home, you're going to be using your literature anthologies. We're going to be on page 412. We're on page 412. If you want to follow along in your own book, you can. I'm going to be reading it online right now.
Genre, fiction. Once Upon a Baby Brother by Sarah Sullivan. Pictures by Tricia Tusa. Essential question. How do people get along? Read about a sister who finds a way to get along with her baby brother. From the day she could talk, Lizzie loved to tell stories. Tall ones, true ones, funny ones, sad ones. Lizzie loved them all. She entertained the people in her mother's office. And the little girl grew up to be president and brought her parents to live with her in the White House.
And tall ones, a tall tale means like a made up story. Okay, so it's a made up story. So tall ones means it's made up. True ones means that it's based off of real information.
She made up fairy tales to share with her father during their hikes up Mount Tilapia. After slaying dragons in the forest, the princess gave a surprise birthday party for the king. She spun yarns for Big George. The beautiful girl and her handsome dog took a rocket to the moon and discovered a new planet in the solar system.
So she's not actually spinning yarn.
Everything was fine until her little brother Marvin came along.
So spun yarns is an idiom. She's not actually spinning yarn. She spun yarns for Big George means like she's like saying all of these, like she's giving more made up stories. Spinning a yarn, it's an idiom for like a exaggerated story. So like it says there, the beautiful girl and the handsome dog. So those are all things that could happen. There could be a little beautiful girl and a cute dog. Took a rocket to the moon and discovered a new planet. I don't think a dog and a little girl are going to be able to go into a rocket and find a new planet.
Yeah, how?
So that's why it's called she spun a yarn. She's like making this exaggerated story. She's making up her own story. So that's what it means when someone says spun a yarn.
When Lizzie tried to tell a story before breakfast, her mother said, "Not now, dear. Marvin has a dirty diaper." When she tried to tell her father a story after dinner, he said, "Maybe later, Lizzie. It's time for Marvin's bath." Luckily for Lizzie, Big George still loved her stories. He would listen for hours. Stories about dogs were his favorite. The faithful Labrador rescued his master from the storm-tossed seas. Arf, arf.
All right, make sure you guys get to class on time, okay?
Who was late?
Just make sure you guys are all getting to class on time.
Miss Park, who was late?
Okay, we're gonna move on.
When Lizzie started
Who
second
was
grade,
late?
she discovered that her teacher, Miss Pennyroyal, loved stories too. All the kids in Miss Pennyroyal's class got to write stories and take turns reading them out loud. The brave young girl rescued her teacher from the alligator pit. Lizzie loved Miss Pennyroyal's second grade. At home, Marvin loved his big sister Lizzie. He helped her make her bed. He helped her brush her teeth. He even shared his oatmeal. Lizzie couldn't wait to get to school every morning.
So at home, Marvin, her baby brother, loved Lizzie. He helped her make her bed and brush her teeth and shares oatmeal. What does it look like he's just doing, though? It looks like he's just making a big mess. Look, he's trying to help her brush her teeth, but he's just squeezing the toothpaste everywhere.
Oh my God, that's wasting.
He wants to share his oatmeal, but he just spills it all over the table. He wants to help make the bed, but he just throws everything on the floor.
It's because he is too little. He can't make anything.
At school, Miss
get it out.
Pennyroyal taught her students how to create interesting characters. Think about what makes your character different from everybody else, she said, and describe that in your stories. Easy peasy, thought Lizzie. She got out her Princess Merryweather pencil. While the other kids brainstormed, Lizzie started writing. She wrote all through recess. She was still writing while the other kids ate lunch. "Can I go first, please?" Lizzie asked when it was time to share stories out loud. "There's only one creature with footprints like this, Captain." "You don't mean—" "I'm afraid so, sir. The Yeti is on the rampage again." "Nice to see you using those new vocabulary words," said Miss Pennyroyal. "Thank you," said Lizzie. The next day, while Lizzie was at school, Marvin found a tube of golden glitter glue in Lizzie's desk drawer. He made golden glitter swirls all over her favorite stuffed bear, Sebastian. Lizzie was not amused. "Big sisters need to be patient," said Lizzie's mother. "Babies can't help making messes," said Lizzie's father. Lizzie curled up in her bedroom with her imagination notebook and wrote a new story. Once there was a beautiful princess who lived in a castle by the sea. She made her parents very happy. Then the ugly prince was born. He cried all the time and made lots of messes. So the beautiful princess banished the ugly prince to a desert island. "This castle is getting way too crowded," she told her trusty steed. Lizzie was happy to go to school the next day. The kids in Miss Pennyroyal's class were still writing stories about interesting characters. Lizzie had tons of ideas. It was hard to find time to write them all down. "Run for your lives, it's the Marvinosaurus. Marvin's the nastiest pirate that ever sailed the sea. Watch your fingers, there's a marvinfish circling below." On Friday, Lizzie's mother announced she was taking Marvin to visit Grandma. "I hope you won't miss your little brother too much," she said. "No, Marvin!" Lizzie was thrilled. After spaghetti for dinner, she and her father played a long game of checkers. The next afternoon, Lizzie sharpened a whole box of pencils. She dusted the furniture in her Princess Merryweather magic castle. She rearranged the stuffed animals on her bed 12 times. But something was missing. At school, Miss Pennyroyal announced a new project. "Now that we know about creating characters, we're going to write our own comic books," she said. "Everyone needs to think of a character who will have lots of adventures." Lizzie took out her Princess Merryweather pencil. She doodled. She stared out the window. For the first time, she couldn't think of a single idea. That night, while Lizzie's father worked on a sales report for his meeting, Lizzie tried to work on her comic book. She drew stars on the cover of her imagination notebook. She stared at a liver-shaped spot on the ceiling. She even cleaned out her sock drawer. "Once in a far-off galaxy," she wrote, and then nothing. The next day at school, the kids in Miss Pennyroyal's class turned in their comic book projects. everyone except Lizzie. "Remember, the deadline is the day after tomorrow," said Miss Pennyroyal. "I know," Lizzie moaned. "Maybe you need fresh inspiration," said Miss Pennyroyal. "Maybe," said Lizzie. She chewed on the end of her Princess Merryweather pencil. "It was a dark and stormy night," she wrote, and then nothing. At home, Lizzie looked for inspiration. She listened to music and drew pictures on blank sheets of paper. She reread her favorite fairy tales. She studied the comics in the Sunday paper. Nothing helped. "I'll never think of a character for my comic book," Lizzie moaned. She went downstairs for a glass of juice. "Mugworts," said the chrysanthemum. "Marvin?" said Lizzie. "When did you get home?" "Ziff whizzle," said Marvin. Then he knocked over Lizzie's juice. "Oh, Marvin," said Lizzie. "Loops," said Marvin. Lizzie thought about Miss Pennyroyal's instructions. Interesting characters. Lots of adventures.
And she has a sparkle in her eye.
Lizzie carried her Princess Merryweather pencil upstairs. She wrote until bedtime, and while she was brushing her teeth. She was still writing during recess the next day. "Is your comic book ready to turn in?" asked Miss Pennyroyal. "Not quite," said Lizzie. "I need to show it to someone at home first." "As long as you turn it in tomorrow," said Miss Pennyroyal. While her mother cooked dinner, Lizzie pulled Marvin into her lap. "Listen to this," she said. "The Amazing Adventures of Marvin with Big George the Wonder Dog." "Run for your lives," yelled the mayor. "Goo goo."
Look how cute it is. And look at how amazing the second grader did with her comic book.
"Aliens have landed. They're taking over the city." Out of the sky swooped the amazing Marvin with Big George the Wonder Dog. Marvin sprayed the tiny villains with paralyzing purple slime. Soon all was peaceful in the city again. "Yay, Marvin!" the people cheered. The mayor gave Marvin the keys to the city.
Miss Park.
"Long live the amazing Marvin!" everyone shouted.
Yes.
I have to go. I gotta go get my hair cut.
Okay.
Lizzie
Make sure you
gave
come back to
Marvin a
class because we
hug.
have a lot to do today.
Big George lifted his chin
I
and howled.
don't know if I.
"That's only the beginning," said Lizzie. "Wait till you see what happens in episode 2.
All right. So that was all about Once Upon a Baby Brother. If you guys would like, you guys can read about Bully Free Zone on your own. And then this will be the story that we will read next week. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at your turn answers as well as your CRC. So you can get those out. However, we may not you may not have time to get all of it done, but I'm just going to go through the answers with you guys. Okay. So I'm going to go to resource links in Google Classroom. I'm going to click on CRC and your turn answers. And then I'm going to first click on CRC. This is going to be asynchronous work. So I'll go over the questions with you guys, but you guys are going to do this asynchronously on your own. Okay. So page 140 to 146. All right. Write 3 details about the princess story. Make a conclusion about what inspires Lizzie. So Lizzie writes this story after Marvin ruins her bear with glitter. So let's look at page 420. So in this one, Marvin just put glitter glue all over her favorite teddy bear. And look, she's hiding in bed because she's really upset. And then so what does she write a story about? Once there was a beautiful princess like her who lived in the castle by the sea. She made her parents very happy. They're her parents. Then the ugly prince was born, and that's her little baby brother. He cried all the time and made lots of messes. So the beautiful princess banished the ugly prince to a desert. This castle is getting way too crowded, she told her trusty steed, and her trusty steed would be her doggy. Lizzie writes the story after Marvin ruins her bear with glitter. The story is similar because the brother makes messes just like the ugly prince. The story is similar because the sister does not like her little brother, and Lizzie gets inspiration from her brother. The author puts her story next to a similar incident to show that Lizzie gets her story ideas from her baby brother. Write each illustration and what they show and what you learn from it. So let's look at pages 428, 429, and 430. So here, it's a picture of her trying to get inspiration. She is listening to music. She's drawing pictures. She's looking at comic books or comics in the Sunday newspaper. So she's trying to get inspiration. She goes and tries to get a glass of juice, and then she sees her little baby brother. And then when she sees her little baby brother is home, he spills juice all over her book. So she does everything except for writing. She's trying to get inspiration for what her comic is going to say for her assignment. She's looking frustrated with the blank book. She can't think of any ideas for a comic book. And then on 431, she has a twinkle in her eye. So when I say she has a twinkle in her eye, she's like, she has an idea. Her teacher wants her to write a comic about interesting characters with lots of adventures. And who better is an interesting character than her baby brother? So the illustrations show what Lizzie is thinking and feeling by showing her actions and facial expressions. Now, how does the author show that Lizzie's relationship with Marvin has changed? So at the beginning of the story, she is so happy when Marvin leaves. She's like, yay, I can't wait. So, and in all of her stories, Marvin is the villain. He's the dinosaur, he's the pirate, he's the ugly prince. But then at the end, Lizzie hugs Marvin and tells him it's just the beginning. And then in the comic, Marvin is actually now the hero of her story. So he went from the banished prince to now the superhero, the amazing adventures of Marvin, where everyone is cheering for Marvin and says, long live the amazing Marvin. And even, yay, Marvin, the crowd is cheering, and even the mayor is giving him the key to the city. The author shows their relationship has changed by showing Lizzie's different actions and the different types of stories that she writes. This is going to be based off of Bully Free Zone, which you guys can read on your own. And then the last one is our integrate. How do children in Once Upon a Baby Brother and Bully Free Zone and Buenos Dias Amigos get along? So Buenos Dias Amigos is going to be a folk song from Latin America. It goes, Buenos Dias Amigo, good day friend. ¿Cómo estás hoy día? How are you this morning? ¿Quieres aprender un juego? Would you like to learn a new game? Yo te lo voy a enseñar. I will teach it to you now. Stories and songs tell me that children can get along by using imagination, learning new games, and cooperating each other. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at your turn answers. So if you want to take out your turn book, just so you can see what pages that you guys are going to be working on, we're working on pages 217 and 218. So I'm going to open up your turn answers PDF. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So sharing the class pet. Martha's class had a pet rabbit. On Friday, everyone wants to take the rabbit home. Mrs. Jones writes the children's names on papers and mixes them up. She will pick a name to see who takes the rabbit home today. So how do you know that this text is fiction? So we know it's a made-up story. It has made-up characters like Martha, Mrs. Jones, the kids, and it has events. It has a problem and a solution. So at the beginning, there's a pet rabbit. On Fridays, over the weekends, someone has to take the rabbit home. Everyone wants to. So to make it fair, the teacher puts everyone's names on papers, mixes them up, and she picks a name. And whoever's name she calls gets to take the rabbit home that Friday. So the problem is everyone wants to take the rabbit home. So the solution is she picks a random student's name to take the rabbit home so that it's fair. So what is the problem? Everyone in class wants to take the rabbit home. The solution is Mrs. Jones writes the children's names on papers and picks one child to take the rabbit home. And then we talked about idioms this week. An idiom is a word or phrase that has a different meaning than the real meaning of the words. So before the talk could get out of hand, Mr. Webb spoke up. Get out of hand just means to get out of control. They knew if they all pulled together, they could put on a great play. They're not actually pulling something. They're not pulling a rope. When I say, okay, let's all pull together and work together, it means to work as a team. Luz made up her mind that she wanted to play Henny Penny. So she's not actually like massaging her brain and making her mind. She's deciding. If I say I made up my mind, you guys, we're going to take your math quiz tomorrow. Making up your mind, you're deciding something, you're determining something. She knew the lines by heart. If you know something by heart, like if you know your Pledge of Allegiance and you knew the lines by heart, it doesn't mean that you know the lines and they're next to your heart. It just means that you memorize them. You know them really well and that you're able to remember them because you memorized it. Everyone at school said it was a big hit. You're not actually hitting something. When something is a big hit, like a movie, maybe you guys have seen Turning Red. It was a big hit. A lot of people really liked that movie. It didn't mean that someone hit it. It means that it was a big success. A lot of people liked it. Okay. So that is going to be our answers for your work that you guys are going to work on today. So right now, what you guys are going to do is you're going to work on your 5 things. You're going to take your practice spelling test. I'll put it in the chat for you. You're going to take your practice vocabulary test. I'll put it in the chat for you. You're going to take grammar and mechanics, and I'll put in the chat where you go for that. You're going to go to McGraw-Hill Wonders Games. Okay. Then you're going to work on your selfie writing if you haven't done that yet. And your selfie writing is in Google Classroom. Click on classwork. And then it's going to be under ELA. And then you're going to work on your closed reading companion, which is your CRC book, pages 140 to 146. And then you're going to work on your turn pages. And you guys know where to go to find those answers if you need to review them. And you're working on 217 to 218. All right. Now, I'm going to be, if you have missing work, if you have any missing work that you need to get done, make sure you get the work that you need to get completed done. There's quite a few of you guys, Dimitri, Jason, Kayla, Alexander, Nicholas, Jewels, Abigail, Dimitri, Alexander, Kendall, Jewels, Jason, Daniel. If you have missing work, get those done first before you do your asynchronous work. And then also, there's 9 of you guys who need to complete your flip grids. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over your Flipgrids right now. I need you guys to add your response and work on it right now. So let me review your Flipgrids again. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your Flipgrid link right here. Oops, sorry, that was not the right one. So this is your Flipgrid link. You're going to log in with Google. You're going to click add response. Okay. Once you click add response, you are going to create a video measuring something around your house. Only one thing. You only need to measure one thing in your house. So let's say that you want to measure something with a ruler. If you have a ruler, you can pick one thing.
I'm Ashley, and I'm in Miss Park's second grade class, and we are going to be measuring some of my favorite items around the house. So this is one of my favorite items. This is a dog bone, and this is a bone that I give to my dogs, Kovu and Evie, and I really like my dogs, and it would be hard to measure them because they're always moving. So I'm going to be measuring their bone instead, and this is one of their favorite bones. So here I'm going to be using a ruler. Okay? I have a ruler, and I am going to be using the inches. So I am going to start at the end of my ruler where 0 is. I'm going to put my bone at the end, and then I'm going to go right here. So you guys can see that my bone, it is between 8 and 9. It's more closer to 9. It's past that halfway mark. So I'm going to say that my dog's bone is 9 inches long.
Okay, that's all you're doing. If you do not have a ruler at home,
Hi, everyone.
you can use anything. If you don't have a ruler, you can use a pencil to measure. You can use a paper clip to measure. You can use a hairband to measure. You can use an eraser to measure. You can use your phone to measure. You can use anything to measure. And just instead of saying like inches, you would say I don't know, my Pokemon doll is 3 socks long. You can use your sock to measure. Or my door is 8 toothbrushes long. Okay, so you don't have to use a ruler. So this is me using a pen to measure a sour gummy worm packet.
My name is Billy, and I am going to be measuring with my pen. I have a ruler at home, so my unit of measurement is going to be this pen. What I have here is one of my favorite snacks, and these are sour crawlers. They're like sour gummy worms, and they're really good. So I'm going to be measuring this. So because I don't have a ruler, I'm just using my pen as a measurement tool. I'm going to start my pen at the end of my bag.
I love that noise.
And here is where it ends. So now what I need to do is I'm going to put my finger there, and then I'm going to go here again. Now let's see. My pen halfway mark is about here, and it's a little more than halfway of my pen. So because it's more than halfway, I'm going to say that my sour gummy worm bag is about 2 pens. Okay? 1, 2. My sour gummy worms, the measurement is about 2 pen units. 2 pens. It's about the length of 2 pens. That was me measuring one of my favorite things in my house, which is sour gummy worms, which I really like to eat. Thank you for listening. Bye.
So that's what you guys are going to be doing. Okay? That's what I'm going to stay in class to help you guys with that right now. If you guys have no missing work. So like Ava, you don't have any missing work. Eva, you don't have any missing work. Sierra, you don't have any missing work. Nicholas, I think you need to work on your writing. Russell, you don't have any missing work. So you guys can go work on your asynchronous items. Like your 5 things. And then everyone else, you guys need to stay. If you have Flipgrids to turn in your Flipgrids. After that, you guys need to turn in your math, history, or ELA lessons, okay?